Well, hello, Chicago. How you guys doing? Come on, it's the third day of con. I'm feeding off your energy, so I need it. For everybody that's home watching, I'm Cher Martinetti, the managing editor of SYFY WIRE Fangirls. It's day 3. My con brain is totally kicked in. And we're coming to you live from C2E2, from the live stage. And for everybody that doesn't know, SYFY WIRE is your ultimate home for all things geek and nerd. And clearly we are all geeks and nerds, because we're here, right? Yes. So you can stay along with all the coverage this weekend by following the hashtag C2E2, hashtag it's a fan thing, hashtag I'm hanging out with Superman. What's up, yo? Say hello to Tyler Hoechlin.
Hello.
So we were just talking about baseball in the back because I don't know if you know, Tyler used to play baseball. He's a big baseball fan, and he was telling me why he loves the team he loves. He's a big Cubs fan.
Cubbies? Go Cubs, go. No, I was saying, what I love about Wrigley is that the field is like the only place, it's the only baseball stadium you can go to where you almost feel like you're in a theater. Like the field feels like the stage, and you feel kind of almost like a part of it. All these other ones they're very comfortable and massive and have everything that you want to shop for and eat. But Wrigley's a special place. It's like just baseball.
So I wonder if, like, because it feels like a theater, and then now like you're an actor, it kind of makes sense that you have that special affinity.
Yeah,
it's like you're gonna be on a stage.
No, I keep the acting and the baseball thing very separate. They're very separate.
Totally separate.
Some things that you can kind of like in them, but I like to keep them on their own respect.
So I just want to get this out of the way now and tell you, I absolutely loved you as Superman.
Oh, thank you.
And I personally think that you should get to be like big screen Superman. So no, right? Don't you guys agree? Yes, he was great as Superman. What was that like when you found out? I mean, that's a huge iconic character. Yes. So what was that like when you found out you were actually gonna wear the blue tights?
It was weird. I was driving in the car with my brother, actually. We were coming back from like a national park and we were doing this road trip. And I hung up the phone and I looked at him. I was like, so I guess I'm Superman now? Like I'm doing this. He's like, yeah, I guess you're Superman. I was like, okay, well. He's like, are we stopping in Vegas? I said, yeah, I guess we'll stop in Vegas. So we stopped in Vegas on the way home and we watched one of the NBA Finals games at the Sportsbook, and that was our little mini celebration. And yeah, it's a surreal moment. It's not, you know,
yeah.
It's I've been doing this for a long time now. I've been very lucky to be able to do this for 23 years now. And so, you know, it's getting another job. But when you are aware that it's an iconic character, it's definitely a different feeling and a different situation going into it. So it was fun. It's been surreal the whole time. It still feels weird at times.
Did you try not, because I know like there's been a few other soups, obviously. Just a couple. Did you try purposely not to mimic or borrow any style from any of the other actors?
So the only Superman live action that I had seen was Dean Cain in Lois and Clark. That was the one I grew up with my mom and my brother. We would watch that. And so that was a version that I had seen, hadn't seen it any time recently. And once I found out it was gonna happen, I think for a second there was that question of like, do I go back and see any of the other ones? And then very quickly I decided I wasn't gonna watch anything Superman just so that exact situation. I wasn't either feeling the obligation or pressure to try to imitate something that people liked or stay away from something that someone else did. I just wanted to be able to kind of go in with my own vision of it, and if it happened to be similar, then it was similar, and if it was different, it was different. But it was easier for me to kind of look at it for what it was on the page in the world that they had kind of already established in the Supergirl world, and just be able to kind of go from there.
Yeah, because I will say that your version of the character, it does feel a little unique. Like, it doesn't feel like you're trying to pay too much homage to Christopher Reeves, which I know some people felt Brandon Routh's character was more that way. Okay. And it's very different from Henry Cavill's, so I really appreciate that it has its own, like it stands on its own.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad it does. Like I said,
Good job. You did your job.
Thank you. I mean, if it would have been the same, all I could have said was sorry. I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Did playing Superman get you more into comic books, or?
I'm definitely more into the comic world. I mean, coming to these conventions and everything, it's amazing, and the passion for it is crazy. You know, it makes me wish that I had been exposed to that world a little bit more when I was younger. My only collecting thing that I had time for when I was a kid was baseball cards. So that was my my thing for sure. But I mean, like I said, coming to these conventions, meeting everybody, the passion here. Speaking of sports, you can go to a sporting event and it's a great energy and a great environment. But here is a really special place because there's so many different interests, but the passion is all the same. And so like I really love seeing like you guys not just excited about what you like, but being excited for other people and what they like, and finding out that, oh, they met this person today or whatever. It's a really unique and special place.
And it's funny because they're actually, if you think about like sports fandom and geek fandom, I mean, they're both so passionate, like about your teams or about like your franchise. Like they have opinions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just a few.
Yeah, just a couple, and they get like heated about those opinions. Let's talk a little bit about Teen Wolf, because a lot of you guys Teen Wolf fans. And it's funny because I was reading that you had almost like a sliding doors moment because your baseball career prevented you from being in Twilight.
Yes.
Playing a werewolf.
Correct.
But you ended up playing a werewolf in Teen Wolf.
Well, yeah, I missed the vampire train on the Twilight thing, and then I ended up on the werewolf side, which, as my family always joked, was more appropriate for me. I got all the hair in the family, so it made more sense. It made more sense. But yeah, those were back in the days when I was saying no to jobs for the sake of sport.
And that's another franchise that's something that existed in the 80s. But again, Teen Wolf on MTV was so different than the movies because it was actually a little bit darker. Did you ever watch the Teen Wolf movies when you were younger?
So I had seen Teen Wolf before I got the job, and then once I got the job, all of us, because even though some of us were not allowed to say that we hadn't seen the movie, some of the people had not seen the movie. And so we got together as a cast before we started shooting the actual presentation, just to be able to say we've all seen it, we've all watched it together. So we did go back and do a little bit of our homework, but it was very clear from day one that we were not doing anything in likeness with that, yeah.
And you have your new Netflix show coming up, Afterlife.
Yeah. Another Life.
Another Life, that's it, sorry.
That's okay. It's Sunday. These
it's
are
Sunday,
long days.
con brain.
I get it.
I didn't even know my name 5 minutes ago. Like, we're fine, we're thriving. Can you tell us anything about that show?
Yeah. Set in the future. There's a lot of stuff with, actually, you know what? I honestly don't know what I can and can't tell you. It's one of those, I haven't been briefed yet on what I'm allowed to say and not say. So I've learned my lesson.
Just in the future.
It's in the future.
There's stuff with aliens.
It's in the future. It could be near future. Stuff with aliens. All right, I'm gonna repeat what she says that I know is true.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix.
It's like
the wonderful Katie Sackhoff.
What are we not allowed to say?
Exactly.
What can we say?
Nothing anymore.
So if you could play any role, any character, what would your dream role be?
Indiana Jones.
You did not even hesitate.
No, I love it. The time that it takes place in, the world that it is, the adventure that it is, the idea of believing in these magical things that no one believes in and searching desperately to find them. There's something incredibly adventurous and romantic about the whole thing, and it kind of, that's kind of my dream. Was that like your big, when you were younger, like the big thing that you geeked out over? Not as much when I was younger. I do remember, it's so funny, I actually went back and watched the third of the trilogy, and it was when they have like young Indy going through the train, and for whatever reason, I hadn't seen the movie in so long that I'd kind of forgotten what those scenes were from. And so when I went and sat and watched the movie again, I went, oh my God, this was one of the most like ingrained scenes in any movie I'd ever seen when I was a kid, because when he tries to use the whip for the first time and it comes back and hits him, I was like, I have subconsciously had that in the back of my head for all time. And so it was really kind of cool to watch that whole thing again. I went back and did the whole trilogy of the original three, and it just, I love it every time. I love it more and more every time I see it.
I mean, I would definitely watch you as Indiana Jones.
Yeah, does it work?
I think it could work.
Okay.
Because you're athletic, you know, you could bring that into the role, into the whole adventure theme.
Yeah.
I think it would work, right?
We'll see. We'll see what we can do. We'll start
Let's just like
planting
try to
seeds, and we'll
start,
see how they grow.
influencing the powers that be, wink, wink, to make it happen.
Yeah.
But I would be completely
Float
into
it out
that.
there. We'll put it in the universe, and we'll see what it does.
So, I mean, you've done quite a few cons since you've both between Teen Wolf and obviously Superman. What's like a most interesting fan experience that you've had?
Most interesting fan experience?
Whether interesting because it was like, oh my God, or just something that really was overwhelming, like in a good way?
I mean, honestly, I think the overwhelming part is anytime you have someone come up to you and say that, the show had such an impact on their life, whether it was, pulling them out of a dark place or, introducing them to a friend group that they have now. Anytime that you hear that, I think that's an overwhelming thing because for us, we go to work, we hear action, we hear cut, we do our thing, we see everything assembled together. You don't always get to, unless you come to these cons, you don't always get to meet people and kind of hear their story of why the show meant so much. I think anytime you hear that, it's always a bit of a wake-up call of like, oh wow, this is, you do forget sometimes what an impact a movie or a show that you're on, what kind of impact it can have on somebody. So that's always an overwhelming thing in a great way. It's just a nice reminder.
And that must be something that when you're working in genre, you have that opportunity for that experience, maybe a little bit more than when you're doing like not a science fiction or a fantasy role, right?
Right, yeah, which I've learned along the way, for sure. But yeah, it's a different connection, I think, for whatever reason. It allows us to come out and meet you guys at these things that don't necessarily have those just for those, non-fictional dramas always. But yeah, so it's nice when we get to come out and experience that.
What's been your most favorite role that you played so far?
Oh God, I wouldn't be able to pick. I'll be the boring guy that can't
be like,
pick.
I love them all equally. They're all
so
my
fun.
children.
I had incredible memories on Teen Wolf. I mean, that was such a long part of my life, and made lifelong friends in that. Derek was a really fun character for me to play. The guy that was just always angry with everyone for no reason. It was fun. It was a fun thing.
Because it's probably so different from like your personality. So
I mean, I like to smile. I like to have a good time. Derek doesn't, and so it was kind of cool. I was like, let me see what this is like to just be annoyed at everyone all the time for a minute. It's it's an interesting thing. So that was fun, and Superman has been a blast. It's been it's a real privilege. I think, like you said, it being an iconic character, I think I've always realized that there is a certain responsibility that comes with that, playing that character. And so it's been nice to hear the stories of people coming up and saying that they've enjoyed it and everything. I mean, McReynolds, and everybody wants him. I don't know if anybody saw that, but I mean, come on, I got to go back to college for 2.5 months and be a college baseball player again in the 80s. Like, it was pretty fun. So I've been lucky, been very blessed, and I've had a great time. I've had a great time working. So hope to stay busy.
So you started acting like really young, right? Because you did some Disney
I was about
stuff.
8 years old when I started, yeah.
So what made you want to be an actor?
Honestly, I wanted to make my own money so I could buy video games and baseball cards. As a 7-year-old, before you start acting, that's what's important to you. So
I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes even when you're an adult,
that was why. Yeah,
that's what's important to you.
Yeah, everyone else still go out and get a pack. But yeah, no, that was honestly when I was 7 and the idea first came to me to go back into this world that apparently my parents had put me in as a baby doing commercials. That was my initial motivation for it. It's changed. That's not why I do it anymore. But yeah, that was the jump start, and then I kind of fell in love with it along the way.
What was like the video game that you had to have at 7 that you needed money for?
All of them.
Just all the video games.
Everyone. It was like, I mean, again, it's one of those things where like you're a kid, all these new things are coming out, and like the video games just keep getting better and better and better. So it was like, well, I need all these now so I can finish them before the next ones come out. And so, but I mean, I remember when N64 first came out, and they had the Star Wars game and Super Mario, and it was the first time we really played like in 3D, and it was just my brother and I on Christmas Day just never left the screen, never. We just completely. Grandparents, parents, like, you guys want to do it? Nope, we're good. We're good.
I don't need food. It's fine.
No food, no drinks, nothing. I just need another life. I need another life. That's it.
Do you still play video games?
I do, not as often anymore, but my brother will get me sucked in every once in a while. We'll find one, and I'll get caught in. Call of Duty has been the most frequently revisited one. Even though I'm awful at it, I'm awful. I don't get better. I try, but I don't. My brother does very well and holds our team up, and I hold it back. And sometimes we win, sometimes we lose.
A little bit balanced.
One of us is usually to blame for the other, and that's okay.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think I know many adults that are actually good at Call of Duty. I feel like it's like kids are always so much better at it.
Oh yeah,
And then they like trash
there are
talk you.
some adults out there. I have buddies who get caught up in like the trash talk online with the kids, and I'm like, dude, come on, man, you're 35, let it go. Like,
have you ever seen The Breakup?
Like, this guy's voice hasn't changed yet. He's obviously 11 or 12 years old. Like, you cannot be getting this upset.
It's like that scene in The Breakup with Vince Vaughn, and he's playing Madden, I think.
Yep.
He's like legit going off on like a 12-year-old.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we
I know
all
some of
have
those guys.
at least one friend that's that guy or related to them. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Let's play, because I know you were, playing with the die before.
Yeah.
You want to play some roll for questions?
Sure.
All right, well, you got to roll it.
Okay. There's a couple people out here right now. If you've got one of these numbers, yeah, I'm looking at you. I know.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on? Because she keeps like, there's like a thing happening.
It's a long story. We don't have time. I got a 9 here.
I'll get the scoop backstage. I'm gonna find out what's up.
I've got a 9.
All right, a 9. Which radioactive animal would you want to be bitten by to gain their attributes?
To gain their attributes?
Yeah, so like, how Spidey became Spidey.
Right.
Spider.
I'm gonna go with. That's tough. I'm gonna go with, from what I've seen, I feel like spider.
It could be any animal on the planet.
Yeah, but I get their attributes.
Yeah.
I feel like. Okay. Oh. I'm seeing this from a different perspective now.
He's like, wait a second.
I'd go Peregrine Falcon.
With what?
Peregrine Falcon.
Why?
Because they fly really fast. I could travel on my own.
Okay.
Without getting on a plane again, and it would take less time than almost any other bird.
All right, well then there you go. That's a good answer.
I'm gonna go with that.
You're gonna have to roll again.
I also feel better about these questions now because I thought they were going out here, and I was like, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. If she's got one of those cards.
But now am dying to know what she would say.
It's probably inappropriate.
You're like, it's fine.
There we go. My number, 14.
14's your number?
14's my number.
Why is 14 your number?
That was my baseball number. It was my older brother's number, and I took it and carried on the tradition.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
All right. If the power of flight existed, how much of a problem do you think bug swallowing would be?
Given the amount that hit my windshield when I drive, I would say excessive. Yeah, it'd be a pretty big problem.
Yeah, but I'm thinking now, but if you were bitten by a radioactive falcon and you gained their attributes, you would probably want
that'd just
the
be
bug,
lunch,
'cause
actually.
yeah,
it'd be lunch, so it'd be good.
So that might not be a bad thing.
Actually, be like travel while you eat while you travel.
Get some protein. Bugs have a lot of
It's
protein.
like an in-flight meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So we're basically,
in some cases that might be better than the in-flight meal.
We're
let's be
basically just
honest.
back on Delta now. It's fine. I'm just flying over the skies. It's all good.
Yeah, no, I'm with this. Let's keep going.
Let's go. I forgot.
This is
I have
getting weird.
I have a role in this question
Let's just keep
thing.
being weird with it.
20.
Okay. Let's say it's Final Jeopardy.
Okay.
And the scores are all tied.
Yep.
What are you hoping the category is?
Sports.
I mean, I was gonna say, I would say baseball for you.
Yeah.
What did you say, sports?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with sports. Or Hoechlin family traditions. I feel pretty good about that.
Okay. I think you would probably be amazing at that and probably win Jeopardy, so it's fine.
And I feel like I would bet the max and
Yeah.
feel pretty confident that no one else
You're
would
like the
know that
all-time
answer.
Jeopardy leader just from that.
Yeah.
I know, like we said, you played baseball and you're a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
If you could play any baseball character in a documentary, like a biopic.
Ooh.
Not a documentary, a biopic.
Ooh.
It's Sunday. Okay. My brain's not working.
That's a good one. That's
Thank
a good
you.
one. God. Honestly, there's a couple of them out there. One I can't say because I actually am interested in pursuing that, so
Okay.
I don't want to throw it out there yet.
We're not going to say it.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna keep it under wraps. You'll know if and when you see it. But I mean, anything back in the early days, I would love to have done something with, like, the Yankees back in, like, the early.
You're just
glories
saying
of the
that because I
Yankees.
told you I was a Yankee fan.
No, but I mean, come on, it's like you got Mano and Gehrig and Roger Maris, all these guys, it's just such a, as a baseball fan, like early baseball, the days of Ruth and all that. I mean, it's hard to. I also love that era in general.
Yeah.
So to be in New York in the 20s or the 30s with baseball, you kind of have like all my favorite things.
What was your favorite baseball movie?
Favorite baseball movie? I do have a couple, but I probably will say Major League 2.
I would say The Sandlot.
Sandlot's great too.
Sandlot is a great baseball movie.
Sandlot's great, but Major League 2 was the movie that my brother and we couldn't see the first one when we were younger. It was rated R. But we got to see Major League 2, and so for us, that was like the craziest movie we were allowed to watch. It was the raunchiest movie we were allowed to watch. And so I know I can quote almost that entire
Those movies
film.
were hilarious, though.
They're amazing. They're
Like, to this
absolutely
day, I
amazing.
still say just a bit outside.
Yes. Dynamite drop in, Monty.
Yeah.
It's just random little movie quotes we throw out all the time.
It's so good. Let's do another roll for question.
Okay. 4.
4. If you could somehow talk to your younger self,
Yes.
what would you tell them if you wanted to totally blow their tiny mind?
I mean, I guess you're gonna play Superman one day would be weird. That'd be pretty weird.
They approve of that.
Be pretty weird to hear.
I'm not getting so much of this from her anymore. Now she's like, all right.
We're good now?
You're
We're
doing okay.
All right. Go Sox. I know that's just for you. That's just for you. I don't really mean it. I don't really mean it,
Which
but I
Sox,
want to
though?
say it,
Which Sox?
White Sox.
All right.
Just a White
It's
Sox
like,
fan.
go Red Sox. You
We've been
off
having
the
this
stage.
battle the last 36 hours now, so we can.
We got a little bit down. All right, let's do another one. Go ahead.
I keep forgetting that I have a role in this.
I know.
I'm sorry. No pun intended there. That was 17.
If I offered you, well, how knowledgeable are you on Marvel? Like Marvel Comics, the Avengers?
I'll give it a shot.
Do you know what Infinity Stones are?
Yes.
Okay. If I offered you one Infinity Gem, which would you pick? So it could either be power, time, space, soul, mind, or reality.
That's crazy. It's crazy to actually think about. You watch the movie and then you think about having one.
I feel like mind automatically has to get, unless you want to be a villain, you can't be a good person and want mind control.
Yeah, I wouldn't want mind. I definitely wouldn't want
so that
mind.
disqualifies that instantly.
I'm trying to remember all that soul would give you, like really control over. I definitely wouldn't want power. The time one is sketchy. I kind of like the idea of letting fate run its course, so I don't know that it would be time. I feel like maybe it'd be probably either soul or reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also like just responding to reality and not necessarily trying to manipulate it or shape it, so yeah, maybe reality.
Reality?
Now that I think about it, I just changed my mind. Yeah, maybe reality.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
I'll accept it.
I like that. You can do some good with reality, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like, yeah. All right, we can go with that.
You could shape things for good for people.
Yeah, as long as you like keep doing, because I feel like reality is one of those things that could also kind of be like bad.
If in the wrong hands, yes.
Right.
In the wrong hands, yes.
So I feel like I trust you with the reality stone, I guess.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
I'm okay with it.
You guys,
We're fine.
we've known each other for, this started
Yeah,
at,
for like
what,
20
30?
minutes.
So
Like I trust
like
you with
20 minutes.
reality.
Like she
It's fine.
totally knows me.
We're bonding now. We're fine. We're good.
Absolutely.
So with all these like big superhero movies are huge right now.
Yeah.
If you ever get offered to play another superhero, would you do it? Or do you feel like you're good, you played Superman?
Look, I love the genre. The genre is fun. I think there's a lot of great things to be said through this genre. And so, yeah, I think if the opportunity presented itself, I'd absolutely be up for it. And, you know, depending on what it was and what the story was. I don't, there's not too much, there's certain things I know I don't want to do, but there's a lot of things that I'm very open-minded to, you know, opportunities and characters and story, and there's not too much that I would be like, no, I really don't want to step into that or do that again.
Do you like playing the good guy or the bad guy better? Because you've kind of been, you were not the greatest guy on Teen Wolf.
Yeah, I will say I like to play the good guy, but it is always more fun to play the bad guy.
I feel like a lot of people say that.
Yeah, just because you think of like, what's the worst thing I could do in this situation? And then you have permission to do it. And everyone...
And no one actually gets hurt.
And no one actually gets hurt. No one gets mad at you. They actually go like, that was great. And you're like, yeah, I guess, yeah, it was really terrible.
I was just the worst human being.
I was really awful. I guess I should see if I can go further. It's a weird liberty that you feel when you're in that situation. So yeah, it's always fun to explore that, because you kind of get to turn off the filter for a second and go like, I guess let's just keep going deeper.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. Everybody,
thank you.
Say thank you to Tyler for spending some time. Guys. And coming up next, we have Peter Tomasi on Detective Comics number 1000. And like I said to everyone at home, stay tuned by following the hashtag C2E2 and hashtag It's a Fan Thing.
Thanks, guys.